Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk with RJ. If this is your first time listening, please don't forget to like and subscribe and follow so you know exactly when we release brand new episodes. Also, don't forget to share. If you like what you hear, share it with everyone you know. That's the way we're going to change the world, one share at a time, one opinion at a time, one open heart at a time. I hope you get your pencil and paper or pad or open up your phone and get ready because I've got some information that I really want to share. A lot of people have been like throughout especially recent times, a lot of people have been blaming one race or another or one era or another, or they're blaming all these external forces that are what they claim, especially members of my own ethnic community. Me being black, a lot of people in my ethnic community often blame the white man, quote unquote, for all the genocide, the homicide, the crazy things that are happening in the world today in black culture. Often we play victim. And it's so familiar to say, oh, well, the only reason we're doing all this crime and doing all this stuff is because, the white man put us here and the white man did this and the white man did that. No one's taking any accountability as to the real reasons why this stuff is happening, especially so prevalent in our culture. And being a vet, one thing that I've learned is that when you want to fight an enemy, first and foremost, you have to understand your enemy. You don't just put a plan together and start trying to attack your enemy until you understand how your enemy thinks. And in order to do that, you got to trace their tactics. You got to watch their tactics. You got to work backwards. Sometimes you have to work from the end and go backward to deconstruct a series of events or a situation or tactics or plans or patterns. You start seeing things like that and things start to stand out. That's when it really gets deep. That's when you start to really get to the heart and soul of the situation that's causing so much mayhem in American culture today. And I really wanted to look and figure out what it was that impacts the black race so much that it leads to us as the majority race that commits the majority of violent crimes. um the majority of us that are likely to get arrested for various events, or I'm trying to figure out what it is. Why do we have the highest rates of fatherless homes? Why do we have the why are we the number one consumer of luxury goods and luxury uh, uh, gifts and products and stuff like that, such as designer purses, jewelry, diamond necklaces, custom jewelry, very expensive designer clothing. We have all these things that are going on in today's society that we're wearing. We're wearing all this costly stuff, yet blacks are probably amongst the most least likely to own their own home. But we have left and right members of our ethnic community have lots of luxury cars. It's not unfamiliar to see a black person driving a Mercedes or a BMW or some very nice luxury car. It's not unfamiliar. That's not a rare occurrence. It's actually a quite common occurrence. And then you see, it's common for because um, fashion often circulates around or gravitates. Excuse me, that's a better word. Fashion tends to gravitate amongst hip hop and pop culture, and it's just really interesting how, when you start seeing NBA players or NFL players who the majority of them are black, and those are the ones you really see on the fashion magazines wearing these various outfits. So because people know that, the athletes are going to put these clothes on, they're gonna wear them, they're gonna model this stuff. And a large majority of basketball and football players are black, and they're more likely to be the ones that are modeling some type of high fashion outfit. You don't ever see country singers out there doing that. Country singers tend to not, unless they're maybe on the red carpet or something like that, but they don't tend to be the ones going to some type of event and like having these extraordinarily expensive clothes on, or these extraordinarily expensive vehicles, and other than maybe a truck that's souped up and got a strong engine or something like that. That's what really um gets the attention of different people. But the thing that really separates everything else is, what is it that my race has that other races don't? Or rather, what is it that is so impactful in my race that causes so many patterns? And I started looking at the root causes of these things. First and foremost, I wanted to go and start looking at the different types of music. I started looking up statistics, and I wanted to start looking up, doing my homework just to make sure that, when I look at this and come to my conclusion, it's a well researched conclusion and not one that I just assume. So I went to statista.com and I started looking at the various ethnic groups that are the majority fan base of these different styles of music. And country music, according to statista.com, I hope I'm saying that right. Country music, the 54% of the fan base is white, 31% is black, 38% Hispanic, and 42% other. It's really interesting because the overall tone of country music when you're talking about women, women are referred to as women. You rarely ever hear it's rare. There's always an exception to any rule, but it's very rare that you will hear country music referring to a woman as the B word. If you do hear a woman being referred to as the B word, it's more likely because this person is talking about a specific individual, being the woman that cheated on him and hurt him or betrayed him or something like that, and he's mad, he's lashing out at her specifically. So he's talking about a specific person as opposed to the umbrella women, and then you look at, the type of tone that country music tends to have as well when they're talking about women. They refer to women as mothers, sisters, daughters, wife, girlfriend. They identify women with a level of respect. The overall tone for women is respect. The overall tone for country music is that of a family man or family, person, someone seeking family, working, hard on his day's work. Whenever you look at the music videos, the only luxury item, if you wanna even call it that you see in these music videos is a truck or maybe some horses, but, like, they're not wearing top-notch designer, they're not wearing Louis Vuitton, like, maybe some of these new country stars are trying to bring pop into country music, which is actually getting a lot of backlash from real country fans because 'cause they're like, "Look, if you wanna be pop, go be pop. Country's perfect the way it is. Don't come in here and try to make country something that it's not. Let country keep its sound. Everything else is starting to sound the same. Don't do that to country music." Because right now, country doesn't have like a really heavily censored type of standard in country music on regular mainstream country radio. Right now, you can talk about God, and then you can have a album that talks about your mother, talks about the hard stuff that you're going through, the different challenges that you're experiencing. You can listen to all these different things on country music and on the same radio without being heavily censored. And I think it's just very interesting because I was looking at the overall tone of country music, and the way it refers to women is that of a respectful demeanor, respectful tone. Welcome, Zahara. How are you?
Hi, my name is pronounced Sahar. I
Oh, I
heard
apologize.
everything you said. I wanted to let you know that you're doing such a good job. You talk about a subject. I am also an African American woman of color who love country music, but it's some country songs that I love, like "Love Story" by Taylor Swift. But I'm an R&B fan. I'm a fan of Aaliyah, the late R&B singer who passed away in a plane crash.
Hmm.
And so but I listen to country sometimes, and you said something about somebody mentioning her mom. Like I do that too on my podcast. I talk about my mom and hardships I go through, and the country. It is absolutely wonderful, beautiful songs that country has because it tells a story, and that's why I like it. It's amazing.
Absolutely. And when the economy fell hard under George Bush, like right at the end of George Bush Jr., at the end of his tenure as president of the United States, there's a bunch of country singers that started coming out singing songs about inflation, about the cost of living, and how hard it was. When COVID hit and a lot of people couldn't feed their families, country also came out and they were very sensitive to the needs of their fans. A lot of country singers out were actually out giving food, but without the cameras. It was the cameras of other people's personal phones were recording them doing these charitable acts because they weren't doing it for the camera. They were doing it because they care about their fans. Taylor Swift did, a Zoom concert for all of her fans, and they gave back. They were really concerned about their fans and wanted to let them know, hey, we're in this together. But a lot of country singers started making songs about the struggle of going through COVID, and you didn't hear that
Yes.
from any other genre, and that's one of the things I really love about country music is that it really is sensitive to the struggles that other people are going through. It relates with people who are not wealthy, even though country singers happen to be some of the most wealthy in the game.
You hit the nail on the coffin. It's so true. I mean, I'm Southern, so we say that means you telling the truth. I knock on wood, meaning I mean what I say. You telling the truth. And I want to applaud you for what you're doing. Continue doing what you're doing. And I
Thank you.
love you, my family member. On wisdom, we may not know each other, but we family. So
Absolutely, I
shout out to
agree
you,
100%.
cousin. What's up? Uh, shout out to you, cousin. What's up? That's what I say. I repeat what I say. So God bless you. I want to commend you on what you're doing. I missed out on some of the stuff you was talking about. 'Cause I heard the country and somebody mentioned their mom and something like that, but I missed out on something you previously said. What was said?
Well, actually, you came in right as I just got started. So I was actually talking about I'm trying to figure out the root causes of why the black community, which is also my community, I'm black. The black community happens to be the number one committers of or excuse me, the number one ethnic base that covers or that commits the most violent crimes is that of the black community. More criminals that commit violent crimes are from the black community. If somebody is like any other race, excuse me, let me try to word this better. The likelihood of a Latino committing a crime against someone who's a non-Latino is less than that of a black person committing a crime against a non-black person. It happens more
Right. I
commonly,
agree.
and it's embarrassing, and this is again, for anyone who's gonna listen later on or even right now, this is not bashing any specific race. I'm not trying to bash my own people or anything like that. I love my people, I love my culture, I wanna lift my culture up, but the thing in order to do that is we have to wake up, not be woke, which is this nonsense going on, but we have to wake up and accept responsibility for what's really going on. Because only when we wake up and see what's really happening and take accountability for what we are doing, that's when we're able to start moving forward and growing as a people. And that's the whole purpose I started researching this because I wanted to see like what is it that's affecting our race in a way that no other culture is being affected. That's why I wanted to do that. Thank you so much, Zahara, for coming.
You're
I
welcome,
really
and
appreciate that.
God bless you.
God bless
My
you.
favorite word is God bless you. Take care.
You as well.
All
So
right.
I started
Peace.
peace. So I started looking at other music genres as well, and I started looking at pop, and I wanted to see the fan base of pop. So I was like, you know what, pop culture is actually pretty big today. Let's see what's pop. According to Statista.com, 43% of the pop fan base is white, 38% is black, 38% is Hispanic, and 41% other. And it seems like pop culture, when you look at movies, especially chick flicks, when you look at a lot of movies, pop culture often is equivocated to white people. You watch the movie Clueless or any other thing like that. When you see that, it's just something that's more common among the white culture than any other race. And actually, the statistics don't lie on that instance because people are volunteering this information. Um, so it's really interesting, and the type of environment that you see for people who really are big fans of pop are party goers. They like to go out, have a good time, and party. Like they're not really trying to cause trouble. They're just going out and partying, getting drunk, and there's a lot of frat stuff going on as well in that culture because that's actually what is portrayed very much in pop culture. There's nothing really about settling down, family, or honorable values or anything like that talked about in pop for the most part. No, mostly it's just about living. It's about going out there and living your best life and being the best version of you. So that's really the kind of the tone that pop culture sends out in its music. So then I looked at R&B. 32% of the R&B fan base is white, 53% is black, 24% Hispanic, and 28% other. With R&B, the overall tone of R&B music is making love, seducing a woman. and very often it's actually just objectifying a woman. Like back in the 60s and 70s, we had like Ron Isley and the Isley Brothers and the Commodores, and whenever you heard like love songs of R&B back in that time, they left a lot to the imagination. Teddy Pendergrass, Marvin Gaye, there's a lot to the imagination, just kind of giving you a slight image, a little teasing image. Like turn off the lights, light a candle. Tonight I'm give it all to you. Like, but they're not being super detailed about what they're gonna do with this woman. They're just kinda painting a picture of like, I'm gonna make tonight a magical night. Tonight we celebrate our love. There's a lot of really beautiful lyrics back then that were actually very poetic in nature and gave a lot of imagery to the imagination, set the mood, and you can get in there and do whatever you wanted. Now today's R&B is very, very vulgar. It's very detailed, which leaves nothing to the imagination, and it objectifies and sexualizes women completely. And then you look at like reggaeton, which is Latin version of pop. Reggaeton is heavily sexualized as well. So we're starting to see a lot of people who are like a lot of Latinos, especially in the younger millennial 20s, 30s age range right now. They're starting to just go out there and just want to sleep and objectify a woman. They're not trying to commit and be serious about women anymore. That's because reggaeton is not really as old as you think. It's actually pretty young compared to all the other genres. The first time I heard reggaeton, I was in Iraq. I was in Iraq in 2004, and one of the guys in our platoon, when I was in the Marine Corps, he was Puerto Rican, and we heard this sound, this doom, doo doom, 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 doo doom, and I'm like, we were all asking like, "Hey, what kind of music is this? This is kind of cool." And he's like his English was kind of broken. He like I said, he was Puerto Rican and born and raised in Puerto Rico, and he wanted to join the Marine Corps so he can move out and try something new with his life. And we asked him like, "Hey, what is this? What type of music is this?" And he goes, "It's reggaeton." And we're like, "Okay, what is reggaeton?" He goes, "Reggaeton is a little bit of reggae and a little bit of ton." We started laughing because that was literally his answer. We always laugh. You asked him that question, he would say the same exact thing over and over. But we started loving it. We started falling in love with it. Most of us didn't and I didn't know the Spanish that I know now. But back then, I just listened to the beat and to the rhythm, so I didn't know what was being said in the lyrics. Now I hear a lot of stuff. I'm like, dang, dude, this stuff is vulgar. A lot of it's just gotten really, really sexualized. There's no imagination anymore in music. So now moving along, I looked up hip hop, rap and hip hop. 49% of the fan base of hip hop is white. 69% of the fan base of hip hop is black. 39% is Hispanic and 48% is other. Why is that important? Why is that interesting? Well, whenever you think hip hop, if you think about hip hop, the first thought in your mind is usually a black person. Hip hop culture is often synonymous and equivocated to black culture. The one and two. Like if you see like when Eminem first came out, let's be honest, when Eminem first came out, even though that guy had bars, that man can rap incredibly talented. When Vanilla Ice came on the scene and did Vanilla Ice, Ice Baby, we were laughing. We're like, "All right, you all right, man. That song's cool. But, you ain't really an MC, but you all right." When Eminem came out, we were like, "Oh," people were calling him wigger and all kinds of stuff, saying he's a white boy trying to act black. That was the insults that they were throwing at him. So he had to just kind of say, "You know what? Screw you guys. I'm here to rap because that's how I do. That's what I do." And people often go, "Oh, well, a white boy's trying to act black if he talks hood, talks ebonics." I'm like, you don't know his story. Maybe he grew up in an area that's just hood. It doesn't mean he grew up around all blacks. He just grew up in a hood area, and that's how they talk. Some people from the South, they have an accent, they have a way of talking. You got white people and black people from the South that talk the exact same because that's the type of environment they were raised in. It doesn't mean one person's trying to act like something they're not. If you put a black kid in the hood, they're most likely going to talk hood. If you put that same black kid in a higher learning area or a high-end suburban area, they're more likely going to speak with a type of suburban English or the suburban way of speaking. You put that same black person in England, and they're going to be, "Hello, it's great to see you. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here." They're going to speak with the Queen's English. That's or the King's English now. But that's how they're going to talk. So to say someone's acting a certain ethnicity, that's very ignorant. Because first of all, how do you act black? It's impossible to act black. All you're doing is just heightening stereotypical viewpoints and saying that that's an entire race, which only highlights your own ignorance to believe that. But why is the fact that hip hop is related to black people? Well, I think that is a very, very serious weapon that is being used in the black community. And why do I mean that? Because let's discuss about what hip hop does. You never hear the word wife in hip hop. Last time I heard a song about mama in hip hop was from Tupac, Dear Mama. And he was talking about, mom, I understand it was not easy for you to raise a black man by your own. You had to raise a man, not only a man, but a black man in a racist time when in the 90s when it was really cops were beating up black people left and right. That was how you had to raise us. You were a single mother, struggling, putting food on the table with really nothing, no kind of money, but you were doing it. You made miracles every Thanksgiving. He was praising his mom. The type of songs that just came out was about real life, things that everyone can, relate to. You don't hear that anymore. They don't ever talk about their mom. In fact, the only time you hear a reference to a woman in hip hop is when they're using the word or when they're using the B word. That's how they say woman. That's how they say good girlfriend or wife. They say B, but they actually use the word. They never talk about settling down. It's about being a player. It's about getting all them girls that you can, because these hoes ain't loyal. That's what they say. That's Chris Brown's lyrics. That's what they say. They want you to don't trust a girl. Man, go get your money. Put your money before a woman. Money over bees. That's the theme of hip hop music. Too short. What's my favorite word? B. That is the theme of hip hop is to completely desensitize and devalue women. And when you look at a hip hop music video, what type of woman do you see in those videos out there twerking in virtually no clothes? 9 times out of 10, you're seeing a black woman doing that. Back in the 60s, 70s, even the 90s, it was very common. I've said this before. It's very common to see a black man dating or marrying a black woman because we thought like for as a whole, we wanted black women. We loved being with our own people. It wasn't about, oh, we have to. It was a desire. We had good quality women for the tone. That was the type of women our women were. Good quality, hardworking, loyal, honest women that would lift you up when you lost your job or were struggling financially. They would lift you up and help you get right back on your feet because they knew you're my man. I'm a ride or die with you. We're going to get through this together. When you suffer, I suffer. We suffer together. That was a tone of the black woman back then. They weren't out there twerking in videos back then. Now, because of the tone of hip hop, they have completely desensitized or excuse me, devalued black women in these videos. They're censoring people for having a different viewpoint, yet WAP by Cardi B was a number one song, and no one's getting censored for that. She never got censored. That was a leading song that completely does nothing but sexualize women, saying this is all women are vaginas, and that's it. And when you get in here, you ain't gonna last. Rihanna, under my umbrella. That's not talking about actual rain. That's talking about her vagina. These women are out there pushing a message for you to follow, and they're lying to you and telling you, "Oh, it's under the guise of empowering. We want to empower our sisters. I love my sisters. We want to empower them. That's why we say this. If you got a body, use your body, get your money. That's what you got to do. That's cool." But you know what? You're not being empowered. You're being minimized. Hip hop is minimizing our strong, beautiful black woman. And this is not to take anything away from any other race. This is just a focus of this topic. Hip hop has made black women as a whole, there always are exceptions, but the tone of black women that you see on TV today is a stereotypical angry black woman. Anytime you see that, you see the angry black woman. Anytime you see on TikTok, you're seeing a woman that's all about money. She's a gold digger. She only wants men that are making at least six figures. She will not mess with a dude who's not making that kind of money. Screw how hard he works. She only wants him. This is what we're seeing on social media. This is the stuff that goes viral. There are riots in the cities and news. news media is covering them and saying, "Oh, there's riots in the cities." Who do you see? The number one faces that catch your eyes are the black men and women in the crowds, and then the black women twerking on top of the cars when they see the cameras. How many times do we see on YouTube where a woman gets a camera on her, she's having fun, she's partying and dancing, and the first thing she does is she starts twerking when she realizes that the camera's on her. Do that same thing to a white girl. More often than not, you put the camera on a white girl who's dancing, she's gonna look at the camera and seduce the camera and keep dancing. She's not gonna twerk. There's always exceptions to every rule, but the likelihood of her twerking is less likely than that of a black girl. Don't believe me? Believe your eyes. It's all over social media. And again, this is not about downing our people. This is about calling out truth. Hip hop is degrading our women, which is why there's a whole new thing called passport boys. Guys, like black men are now no longer, as a whole, black men are no longer going after black women because hip hop music tells us not to. Hip hop music has subliminally manipulated black men to seeing black women as nothing more than a thought. That hoe over there, for those of you who don't understand that phrase, that's what hip hop is doing to our culture. Hip hop doesn't want you to get married. Hip hop, even the word nigga is used. And they're like, oh, well, we use it, we hear it over and over and over. Oh, it's a term of endearment. It's a term of endearment. No, it's not. You're only lying to yourself to say that. Because when you get in a fight with another black person, the first word out of your mouth is going to be the N word like that. You're going to say that. And guess who else said that? The house slaves back in the slave plantain or the plantation, excuse me. The slave plantation, the house slaves will call the field slaves the N word. It was a term of degrading them. Like, oh, you N words, get over here. You stupid N words. And they end up calling themselves that. Like, you were N just like me. And now the word when you say, man, I'm a real N word. I'm a real N word. Like, you proud of calling yourself that? Because Dr. King didn't fight and die for you to call yourself that. He fought so we can stop being called that, but now we call ourselves that. We haven't been indoctrinated with hip hop music to destroy our own women by degrading them to nothing more than sexual objects and to throw them out when we're done with them, rather than standing by their sides and lifting them up, showing that respect to our black women. Even if you're not attracted to black women, black men are supposed to treat black women with respect. Now they don't want anything to do with them because hip hop music is telling them not to. It's really interesting. I just find that's not a coincidence. It's definitely something that's planned because that's the overarching tone of hip hop music today. What else? What else do you see in hip hop music? You see the chains, the very expensive clothes. Interesting. Because people say, "Oh, music doesn't manipulate people. Music doesn't manipulate people. That's just weak-minded people." No. When you're mad, what kind of music do you listen to? You listen to a kind of music that fuels your rage, makes you madder. Or you listen to a type of music that's going to calm you down. Music influences us. When you go to the gym, you listen to a kind of music that's going to get your adrenaline pumping. That's going to help you go and work out. You're not listening to motivational speaking by Tony Robbins. You're listening to either like heavy metal or like some gangster rap, like something that's going to get you going crazy. You're listening to something that's going to move you. Music influences all of us. And if you entertain it, you're opening your mind. You might not think that you're listening to the lyrics, but your subconscious is actually, or your subconscious is taking notes. It's writing very detailed notes about those lyrics. That's why one day you're going to end up singing along. You don't even realize, oh, I didn't even realize I knew this song. Like, yeah, subliminal messaging is a big deal. It's one of the most common and effective methods of advertising, in fact. So now you see all these luxury clothes. You see hip hop, they're wearing luxury clothes. You see the same thing on reggaeton. So now more Latinos are buying these luxury items as well. But it's been blacks who have been leading the charge in that. We are the number one consumer of luxury items. The diamond necklaces. Everyone wants that diamond necklace to show, hey, I got money. The really extravagant, very luxury cars. We will put ourselves in debt to have the newest, most beautiful luxury car to attract the attention that we got money, why so many of us live in low income apartment complexes. That is crazy because we're not taught how to manage money. I'm telling you right now, no other genre of music degrades women like hip hop. That is a fact. No other genre of music degrades women like hip hop. It's very hard. You have to go do some real serious digging to find a hip hop song that praises women with respect. It's hard. And I'm pretty sure you ain't gonna find anything in the last 10 years with lyrics like that. You hear Beyonce talking about, "Oh, girl, to the left, everyone," she's talking about, "Oh, don't be with a man if he cheats on her or if he cheats on you," but then she takes Jay-Z after a very public he cheated on her multiple times, and she took him back. Cardi B's like, "Oh, I don't even clean. I ain't sweeping. I ain't doing no cooking or cleaning, nothing like that." And, uh, um, Offset, her dude or whatever his name is, he does a TikTok where her sweeping the floor. He's like, "Hey, what did you say in your song?" And she's like, "Shut up, leave me alone." These people are putting on characters to sell a song because their labels tell them to say this stuff. And they were like, all right. Back in the Nazi times and World War II during the Holocaust, um, because there are so many Jews that they were trying to exterminate, the Nazis would actually pick certain Jewish individuals who were willing to betray their own people. They were like, look, we're going to let you live and give you more food and give you special privileges. You're going to be the police over the Jews. Keep them in line. If they get out of line, you beat them up. And then these individuals who were empowered would beat the crap out of the other Jews as though they themselves were German. And in the end, they got thrown in the oven and sent to concentration camps too. Just they weren't special in the eyes of the Nazis. People will betray their own people if they're told to do so, if it puts more money in their pocket or gives them special privileges. So what makes you think when we got all these doctors out there, they take a Hippocratic oath, like, "I promise, I swear I will do no harm." Like, really? Well, how many of those plastic surgeons out there took that same oath and have given women, like, triple P, size cups for breast implants, or give them so much collagen filler their lips look like butt cheeks, or they're giving women facelifts that no longer can lift. They have no more skin to lift, but they keep doing it because they're getting paid. They have an incentive, and they're like, "Hey, it's your body. Hey, you're paying me. It's your body. I'll do whatever you want me to do." They have an incentive, and they don't care about who it hurts as long as they're getting paid. So we have. When's the last time we had a female hip hop artist singing empowering songs that lift women up? Period. That are like strengthening women and telling them you don't have to use your body to get someone's attention. And if you have to show your boobs to get a man's attention, you're attracting the wrong man. That man's not worth your time because you're so much more than a pair of boobs and a vagina. You are a creation that was given the power to nurture, love, and create life like no one else can. I don't care how trans or gay a man is, no man can ever love the way a biological woman can love. It's just something she has that is unique to women, biological women. It's a gift. It is a gift that is what makes love perfect. Because without that kind of love, it's hard to know how to truly love perfectly. Hip hop music does that. So when you see all these diamond necklaces and all this very high-end luxury clothing, our people go and chase that. Yet we are the third most impoverished people in the United States. The most impoverished, the poorest race in the United States are the Native Americans. Second are single mothers. Third, the Black community. How is it that we are the top consumers of luxury items, diamonds, high end clothing, high end cars? How can we get these things, yet we are still amongst the most impoverished in America? Our ethnicity, if you look at the census, the Black community has not grown in the last 20 years. we have still been about 6% of the United States. We are very, very small portion, and we're not growing. It's really interesting. So what do you see out there? You see all these hustlers out there, like the gang violence, the robbing, the looting. A lot of the majority of the faces that you see when this stuff is happening are faces from our ethnic community. So what is it that could possibly be motivating youngsters and black adults and other members of the black community to go out and break into a store and loot? What is that could possibly be doing that? I don't know, maybe the lyrics that say, "Go get your paper, whatever it takes by any means. Don't let anyone stand between you and your dreams. Money over everything." The Bible says, "The love of money is the root of all evil." And it's interesting how hip hop keeps preaching money over everything. You want these diamonds? You better go get it. Go get them diamonds, whatever it takes to get these diamonds. Country music doesn't do that. Country music teaches you to save your money, to invest your money in your family, to be there for your family. I wanted to go and look, and I was like, let me see what else. Let me see if there's any other danger that's been happening as a result of hip hop music. Maybe because I wanted to connect the dots and see what else. Because the black culture it's a beautiful culture. Like we have so much to offer, just like any other culture has to offer. We have a lot to offer as well. We're not moochers, but like, what is it? What's going on that's different about us? According to census.gov, and for anyone who doesn't know, census is taken every 10 years. It's been happening since like the 17 or 1600s or whatever. And pretty much just about every country they do censuses as well, just to kind of record who's there and how many people are there. So in 1970, I wanted to look up people who are not, who have never been married and, what ethnic groups are the least likely to marry and the most likely to marry. So according to census.gov, in 1970, never married black men were 35.6% of the population, and never married black women in 1970 were 27.7% of the population. Hip hop wasn't really big back then. Although Lyndon B. Johnson incentivized women not getting married by, the welfare program being instituted and really like incentivizing women to not get married so that they can make more money themselves not being married than actually being married. So you started having a lot of women who were not getting married, and a actually a majority of the users of this program were black. So it incentivized women to say, I don't need to get married. I'm making money, so I don't need a provider. So it really started back there, back in the 60s and like 64 or 65 or something like that. So in 2020, the black men or the population of black men who were never married. Remember, in 1970, it was 35.6% of black men were never married in 1970. In 2020, the percentage of black men who were never married was 51.4%. It went from 35.6 to 51.4. And the black women in 2020 that were never married, it jumped from 27.7% in 1970 to 47.5%. That is literally over half the black race that has never been married. Because what? Hip hop doesn't want you to get married. It detests marriage. It shows marriage as like balls and chains where you're a prisoner, where your wife is telling you what to do everything. She only wants your money. She's only after your money. Don't trust her because she's going to cheat on you with somebody else. So why get married? She's just going to take everything you got. That's the kind of tone of hip hop. All other races, according to census.gov, were hovering around 35.8% in 2020. So the black race has blown everyone else out of the water and least likely to get married or never been married in 2020. That's embarrassing because back in the 60s and 50s, blacks were always getting married. That was who we were. That was actually who America was for the most part. We got up and we had a family. We were solid about family. We were a family unit people. It was very rare to have a single mother household. And speaking of which, I looked into single mother households as well. I was like, I wanted to see, like, and I was assuming, I was like, with these numbers that I've seen so far, I was assuming that black women were the number one single mother households in America. I was like, let me go look at the numbers. Let's see. So according to financesonline.com, I learned that 6.6 million white women were single mothers. 3.29 million were Hispanic single mothers. 4.14 million black women were single mothers, and 543,000 were Asian. Let me see that again. 6.6 million white women were single mothers. 3.29 million Hispanic women were single mothers. 4.14 million black women were single mothers, and 543,000 Asian women were single mothers. I was like, dang, white women are the number one single mothers? That's not something I was expecting to see. But then I got prompted, like, because I was really praying about this. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't, misreading information or misreading data or jumping to conclusions. So I was praying and asking God to kind of help me out and help me ask the right questions, and so that way I can know what to research. So I was like, okay, 6.6 million white single mothers. That's way more. That's a couple million over the 4.14 million black mothers out there that are single parents. Then I said, I wonder how many of those single mothers are parenting completely alone, meaning that the father has nothing to do with the kids or them. Maybe there's, child support in different circumstances, but, like, I'm talking about physical interaction of the father being involved with the kids' lives. So the fatherless statistics, according to fathers.com, 20.7% of the white children did not have a relationship with their fathers. So that means out of that 6.6 million single mothers, only 20.7 million, or excuse me, 20.7% of that's like, roughly like 200,000. Yeah, I think it's about 20, like 20,000 or something. Yeah, 200,000 kids. I'm not doing the math. I'm just kind of estimating the math. That's like 200,000 white kids did not have a relationship with their father of that 6.6 million. 31.2% of Hispanic children. Remember, there was 3.29 million single Hispanic mothers, and Hispanic actually covers Mexican, Guatemalan, as it's like all the Latino umbrella, pretty much the Latin umbrella. Although some people say it only deals with Spanish, but we don't really have a Spanish majority here. It's lots of others, Latinos as well. But 31.2% of the Hispanic children who were raised by single mothers did not have a relationship or would never have a relationship with their fathers. So that's like that's like 300,000 of the 3.29 million. That's a lot, but that's not nearly as much as it could be because remember, there's lots of Latinos in America, lots of them. So that's a relatively small number in comparison to the totality of Latinos in here. Same thing with whites. Whites are a very large majority of the country. So 6.6 million is actually a pretty small number considering they're about 70% of the United States. I believe it's like 70 something percent. I believe it's up there. So when I was looking at the black children that are least likely to have a relationship or did not have a relationship with their fathers, remember 4.14 million black children, or excuse me, 4.14 million. So that is 4,140,000 single mothers in the United States in 2020. Of that 4,140,000 black mothers, there were 57.6% of black children who would never have a relationship with their fathers. Now, let's say, just to put that in perspective, let's say 4,140,000 mothers. Let's say each one of them had one child. I know there's more or not, but every one of those single mothers has at least one child. That is 2,070,000 children who did not have fathers growing up. Now there's lots of things that we can assume as to why those fathers weren't there. Let's welcome the Guru Warrior. How are you? Welcome to the show.
And so you found the answer to the black race.
Say again?
I'm reading your thing. You said you found it. You found the murderer of the black race.
Yes, I have.
Explain. Explain.
Explain?
Please.
Oh, I'm talking about hip hop music. Hip hop music is
What?
Yep, hip hop music has been the thing that has told us not to marry. Hip hop music has told us the thing not to save. Hip hop music has told us not to treat women with respect because women are all bees. B word. Hip hop music has told us to seek money rather than wealth. Hip hop music has told us listen to how the hip hop stars talk. None of them speak proper
Okay.
English when they're on stage or when they're performing or when they're being
Yes.
interviewed. Say again?
Oh no, it's just that I'm 53 and I actually live in New York. And one of the reasons why we created hip hop was because Ed Koch took away the music program. So hip hop in the beginning was not what it is now.
Exactly. It used to
Okay.
be something that was relatable for everyone. Hip hop was about telling stories of the black culture, of the struggles that we were going through, the assaults of racist cops back in that time that were targeting us, the
Yes,
disenfranchisement. It was talking about the things that the black community were going through, things that we can all relate
exactly.
to.
Yes, and it actually didn't come from America either. So, you have to understand that as well. Um, the first, um, a lot of the first hip hop artists were Jamaican.
Oh, interesting.
Cheyenne. Yeah. Jamaican woman was the first woman to actually put hip hop on wax, and that was in 1978, probably before you were born.
Yeah,
Right? But it was we had that back in Jamaica before even hip hop started in America. So, I'm even scratching like Grand Wizard Theodore. He got scared because his Jamaican mother yelled at him and he went, skibba, skibba. And that created scratching. That was awesome.
oh
So,
wow.
there are good things and bad things about hip hop. However, if you watch a box or whatever on, what do you call it, um, YouTube, there is a letter that was written by a hip hop executive that said, "Listen, you know, we are going to take away all the positivity in rap music, okay? And we're going to bring in the sluts and the hoes, and we are going to change the face of hip hop because they privatized the criminal system." And so what they wanted people to do was emulate what they saw on television
Exactly.
to fill the jail.
Yeah, because what I found out is that a large portion of our sitting senators and politicians actually make money off of the prison systems, especially the private
Ex
prison corporations. They're
Of
making
course,
money. So
of
they're
course.
actually incentivized to continue to keep making laws that keep getting people arrested. It's interesting to me how in India they have less traffic laws than we do and they get in far fewer accidents than we do. We have so many laws and
Yes,
we keep getting
and
in
they drive
accidents.
on the other side of the street as well.
Yeah, but they got motorcycles like filling the streets, bicycles, cars, little
And
dune buggies.
tuk-tuks. No, they're called tuk-tuks.
Yeah, well, they got all
Mhm.
kinds of vehicles moving on the same spot like real fast. Thank you so much
Uh-huh.
for coming on. I really appreciate your feedback and I
Mhm.
appreciate the education as well. 'Cause, it's interesting because yeah, when hip hop was created originally, it had stories. There's a lot of culture involved. There's a lot of beauty that, that just really made hip hop strong. It made it special. And now it's anything but. When's the last time you heard like, you remember back in the, remember back in, like, in the '90s, I think it was, or early 2000s, Nas, and Nas still talks about real stuff. He really lays down real facts, real stories. He still does that. He's one of the very few that actually puts substance in his lyrics. But there was a song that was real popular by Nas called Jesus Walks. And there's another song he wrote that actually was mainstream. It went really popular. It's called I Know I Can Be What I Want to Be. If I work harder, then I'll be what I want to be. And the chorus is sung by kids. They were empowering Nas was empowering kids to grow up, be smart, get an education, and to learn. That's what Nas was doing. That's what a lot of real hip hoppers were doing. Even Tupac, you saw Tupac out there, dancing with kids like Change. Um but it's not Change. It's called Changes. That song by Tupac called Changes. He was over there with kids, dancing with kids in the hood. These kids were not twerking, not being stupid. They were being very respectable adults. I mean, kids. Welcome back to Guru Warrior.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
I'm doing
Jesus
well.
Walks was by Kanye.
No, it's by Nas. I was actually listening to it today.
Really?
Yeah, it was by Nas. I thought it was by Kanye as well, but oh, excuse me, Jesus Walks is by Kanye. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
There's another song by Nas. I apologize. That you're right. It was by Kanye, but there's another song that Nas
Mhm.
did with Jesus in it.
Um, with Damian Marley, but it wasn't about Jesus.
No, Nas had a song that actually says Jesus' name. I heard it today. I was listening to it. I completely forgot
Mm,
because I haven't heard it in a long time. But
wow.
hip hop used to talk about a wide
Do
range of
you
things.
know
Say again.
when I was younger in the 90s, we used to listen to a station at 4 a.m. in the morning, right? And it was called Pirate Radio. It was DJ Stretch and some other Puerto Rican guy. I can't remember his name, but that's how we heard like Biggie Smalls and all this other stuff. So I have a cassette tape of the first rap that Biggie Smalls ever did.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Yep, I'm leaving.
Biggie actually was talking. He had a lot of good things to say as well. He had a lot of substance to what he said when he
Well,
first came
he's
out.
Jamaican.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
definitely not an expert when it comes down to hip hop and the history of hip hop. I just knew that I used to listen to it when I was growing up, and the way it was then and the way it is now is very different. It's now
Yeah,
like, and one of the ways I
it's
show
over
people,
sexualized.
yeah, and one of the things that I tell people as well is like, if there are kids, there are people now that have never been that were not alive when that song "This Is How You Do It" by Montel Jordan came out. But now
Oh my
you could
God,
still hear that in the
yeah.
club, and everyone
This
they all
is
turn
how
up.
we do
Exactly. "This is how we do
it. Do
it," and everyone
it.
just turns up and goes crazy. That song comes on, everyone knows it,
That
even the
came
people
out
that
when I was in high school, dude. It was like 1986.
yeah, people still to this day, they still play it and they still love that song. There's lots of songs, like, you can listen to just about any one of Snoop Dogg's songs. Back then, you can still listen to them now and they're still
Hmm.
relevant. Tupac, same thing. A lot of these
Right?
songs that they did, NWA, those songs are still played today because there was substance there. They weren't just beats. Now,
Yep.
you have a song that's 3 years old, it doesn't get played on the radio anymore because it's no longer relevant, it's forgettable. Like, how many people are playing
Mm.
WAP anymore on the
How about
radio?
KRS-One? I mean, come on, KRS-One. Um, see, I've got two kids in hip hop, so you know they're really big. Yeah. My son Scrapto and Charlotte Mag, my daughter Beast Ma, they do memorable hip hop, but they refuse to bow down to the record labels because they don't want to become a symbol of the way, uh, people want them to do things,
Yeah.
you know?
And if
They
you
wanna
really look
make their
at
own
if you
stuff.
look at hip hop now, like you don't see modest women as MCs rapping anymore. No, I don't think there is a single like the last woman that I saw that was actually modest, even by the way she dressed, was Queen Latifah. Salt and Pepper was
Oh,
very
heck yeah.
sexualized. Everyone else, especially Lil Kim, after she like got a scholarship for plastic surgery,
Oh
Lil
my god,
Kim
she looks like Yoda. My bad, little Kim, I have mad respect for you, but please understand there's something called, like, body dysmorphic syndrome,
Yeah.
okay? So,
Wow.
anyway.
But yeah, like the women now, in order to be relevant, it's in hip hop, in order to actually matter in hip hop, they have to become basically a stripper like Cardi B.
No,
The
they
top
don't.
MCs, and like that's the
You ain't
mainstream.
never heard of Sarah?
No, and that's why, because she's probably
Well,
not
that's
selling
a
herself. Like they're
what?
the music industry doesn't push like these people. There are lots of really talented people that refuse to bow down and do like you were saying. Lots of talented people that refuse to bow down and be the sexualized object that the music industry wants them to be. But they're not the ones that are the really popular ones. The ones that everyone knows Cardi B's name. Whether you're, and she was in the White House talking to President Stupid, but it's just crazy. You got Cardi B in the White House, you got Nicki Minaj, like these people are the elite. They're the standard for that. You got Lizzo. Like these people are sitting there and selling their bodies off and showing their bodies, completely disrespecting themselves and making money at the expense of other people. Because now we see these girls growing up, little girls are growing up and listening to hip hop and going, "Man, I wanna emulate that. I wanna be like her. She's powerful, she's strong," because that's what society's telling them. "Oh, when you dress like this, you're not being a slut, you're empowering yourself." It's ridiculous to think that, like, completely sexualizing yourself is how, you're gonna gain, power, it's empowering. It's not. It's completely the opposite. If you look at the OnlyFans models, those women out there, they're only as good as their youth lasts. People are only gonna pay to watch them do their pictures, and then they're gonna be obsolete. Lil Kim Key or excuse me, if Kim Kardashian were to continue to keep going out there and doing like sexualized poses and stuff like that and doing like nude shoots and stuff like that, people aren't gonna watch that. People are tired of it. They've already seen the Ray J video, they've already seen her little magazine of her. They're like, there's nothing new that you can show me. We've already seen you. So she degraded herself. I mean, she's got an empire. I'm applaud her for her empire, but at what cost? At the risk of preaching, the Bible says, what good does it do if you gain the entire world but lose your soul in the process? I mean, what's your soul worth? Is it really worth completely degrading yourself to make some money? Because you have to live with that shame. And you might not think about the shame. Because me personally, like, and I'll use myself as an example. I used to be a stripper. And I thought when back then when I was dancing, I thought I felt invincible. I felt kind of like godlike. That's how I thought back then. Because I can walk up to any woman in that club, sit on her lap, drink her drink. I could put my hands anywhere I wanted to, and she would let me. I could kiss any woman I wanted to. I can sleep with any woman I wanted to because they all wanted the stripper. Especially when they knew I wasn't gay, that I can dance the way I did. Like, I literally, and this is no exaggeration, I can move my waist and dance the way Shakira did, and it made me very popular. And if you don't know who Shakira is, she's a very big, Latin pop star, and she knows how to dance like belly dancing. She's very good. She's a very talented, belly dancer. But, like, I used to strip, and I thought, "Man, women want me. I'm awesome. I'm like cocaine for them. They can't get enough of me." Then as I grew up and matured, I started realizing all that money I made was it was shameful, it was dishonorable. I thought in my mind at that point or before when I was dancing, I was like, "Man, I'm worth thousands of dollars to these women." Heck yeah. But to them, I was only worth $1 because that's what they were throwing at me. And we don't look at it that way at the moment because they're throwing money at us and then we got to pick it up and go, yeah, I'm getting paid. Let's say you were a server or in any other profession, whatever you do at work, anything you do at work, if you were to get your check on payday and rather than them handing you your check, they just threw it at you and made you pick it up, you would be like, heck no, pick it up. I'm not a dog. You are not throwing anything at me. Pick it up. You would not tolerate that. I don't care if it's like, I don't care if it's your average because you're not becoming a millionaire being a stripper. So let's just get that out. You're not going to be a millionaire being a stripper unless you are a celebrity who becomes a stripper. Then all of a sudden, everyone's going to pay extra to come see you. It's a different story. But your average stripper is not going to become a millionaire being a stripper. So they were throwing money at me, to which I would pick up. But they weren't throwing hundreds at me at a time. I would make hundreds of dollars a song, you know, but they are throwing money at me. They were throwing money at me dollars at a time, and I would pick it up like a transient. I had no shame because I didn't have any respect for myself. When I learned how to respect myself, I started realizing I'm so much more. I'm worth so much more than dollars at a time. I started learning that I'm worth the respect that that I demand. But first I have to show respect to myself before I can get respect from other people. People are not just going to respect me if I don't respect myself. It goes to the same thing. If you're a woman and you're wearing, and this is not to body shame anyone or slut shame anyone, because men can be sluts just like women can. But let's just be honest. Women are very sacred. That's why hip hop destroys them. But dudes are gonna go after, like, because think about it. Look what hip hop's doing. Before, it used to like the type of video vixens that you would see the black women in there that are dancing or twerking and like very, 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 very provocative stuff. And now you're starting to see other races, other ethnic women inside these hip hop videos, and they're not doing the same things. They may be dressed in lingerie, but I'm telling you, for the most part, they're more classy. Even if it's a little bit, they're treating them more classy, and they're having the black girls do the more raunchy stuff of the videos, and they're having the other races go out there. And it's interesting how black men tend to be going for these other races a little more. And that's not to say it's bad. I'm just saying that are they linked? Are people who really follow hip hop for the most part, are our culture really seeking non-black women because hip hop is telling us to? Because when you see women in the in the pools coming out of the pools and wearing these really beautiful bikinis and got these incredible bodies and just looking at the camera making it look like they're looking into your soul and they want you, those tend to be non-black women doing that for the most part. Hip hop tells us not to appreciate women. And subliminally, it tells us not to appreciate black women. Meanwhile, we got all these other female MCs on the mic telling black women, you don't need a man. Take his money. That's all he's worth. Take his money, get his money, use that vagina to manipulate men and get what you want. Meanwhile, men are hearing these lyrics and they're starting to believe, oh man, this girl, these women, they only want one thing. So you got all these messages coming from both sides. You got these hoes ain't loyal. You got take this man. The kind of man I want is a man that makes six figures, that gets my nails done, my hair done, gets me a new purse every month. That's the message being fed to our community more than any other community because hip hop often is relatable to black people. It's black culture for the most part. It's always been a part of our culture. Ever since hip hop was around and especially mainstream, it's been a part of our culture because we adopted it as a music with which we can identify, a genre that speaks to black culture. And ever since we adopted it as that, it's manipulated us, which is why whenever Democrats run for office, they always have some real relevant hip hop artists come out there and validate them. I mean, I seen it too on the Republican side as well. It's funny, but it's just funny to get the black vote. Let's get a hip hop star. We need to get at least one hip hop celebrity that endorses us so we can run for office and get the black vote. It just makes me laugh. But think about these things. All the statistics that I read out today, because I know I read a lot, but the most raunchy music, the music that completely is all about dissolving and destroying marriage and family, you never hear about marriage and family in hip hop, but you hear about country. You hear lots of love songs like Class Love and, like, We Belong Together, um, uh, You Belong With Me by Taylor Swift, and there's so many love songs that are like cute, innocent, sweet high school love songs in pop. So family is actually it's about having a party and living your life, but family is also a nice little portion of that. And Latino music, besides the drinking banda and the sad stuff, you have a lot of family oriented songs. And the Latino community as a community is very family focused. They have a village mentality. Rather than pay very expensive fees for a babysitter and some type of daycare, they have a niece or a cousin that's a stay-at-home mom. They'll go and have her watch the kids and they'll pay them a little bit of money and she'll have the family's back. When you need someone to help out, they call a cousin. Hey, can you help me out? Do this? Yeah, I got you. One of my guys didn't show. I got you. And they're there. They're there for each other. The Latino community really focuses on lifting each other up. And a lot of people say it's unfair that, that Latinos are getting more help and getting a better chance than blacks are. Well, one of the reasons why is because they're giving these chances to each other. When one Latino makes it, that Latino tends to give right back to his community and start lifting other people in his ethnic community up. The same thing with Asians, the same thing with whites. They lift each other up. They boost their country, or excuse me, their culture. They focus on improving their culture, strengthening their culture. If their kids start speaking like idiots, they start correcting them, especially if they're aware of how to speak proper English. But what are we doing? We tear each other down. I've experienced this. When a bunch of my people get together, we start we start ragging on other people. Look at his shoes. Look at his clothes. Oh, he think he all that just because he got a Mercedes. We can't appreciate him like, oh man, I'm happy for him. Look at him. He's got a car. He's got nothing like that. We don't think as a people, we tend to not think, you know what? Rather than get me this very expensive car that's only going to be relevant for about a year and a half, why don't I take that money, put it in my savings account so I can put a down payment on a house? Because I know that the housing market fluctuates, but I can see that there's a lot of transportation that's, being installed around here, and they're building little things. They got plans coming up. So I know that public transportation is going to be here, which is going to increase the land value of this property. So let me buy a home here for $700,000 because I rather than pay for the car and the expensive car, which is gonna be about $700 a month, and then the insurance, which is gonna be like another $200-300 a month, then the gas for that luxury car, which is gonna be another $400 a month, depending on how much you drive. So over $1,000, like maybe almost $2,000 that you gotta pay for that car. And all the little fees, the tags, and all the other stuff that you gotta put into this car. The oil changes and, um, the filters and everything else that you gotta continue to do to maintenance this vehicle. Rather than put money aside for your future, you just buy these diamond necklaces that you're only gonna wear for a little bit to say, look at me, I'm rich, I'm wealthy." You know who doesn't wear diamonds? Bill Gates, Elon Musk. They don't wear that kind of crap because when you're wealthy, you don't wear it, you live it. There's a big difference. Hip hop music is poisonous. That's the reason why so many we kill our own people at a higher rate than any other race out there. Blacks kill black, or excuse me, black Americans kill black Americans more than any other race kills their own culture. And black girls are the number one partner or the number one customer of Planned Parenthood in abortions in America. And a large portion of those abortions, the vast majority of those abortions, are because she knows that she's going to be alone raising a child and she can't bear the thought of raising that baby alone, knowing that her baby's dad is not going to be there. And why is the baby's dad not going to be there? Because hip hop told him family doesn't matter, money over everything. Hip hop is poisonous. It's destroying our community. The root of our disintegration, the root of the fall of black quality. And what I mean by black quality is the high quality of life that we once used to enjoy as a community. Walking down a black neighborhood, knowing that nothing bad is going to happen to you from other black people because you're safe. You're home, you're with your people, everything's cool. That used to be the way of life back in the 90s and the 80s and the excuse me, more so in the 70s and 60s and before that. You walked around amongst your own people, you were safe. Now, if you got a chain and you walk in amongst your own people, you're probably going to lose it. If you walk outside, regardless of what race you are, if you walk outside and you have like you're just walking out there and you have let's say you got 5 racks, you got $5,000 of cash in your hand, and you hold that cash over your hand, and or you hold that cash in your hand, hold it above your head, and you walk down the street. Be honest with yourselves. What or let's say two guys jump out because you're going to most likely get robbed. But two guys jump out. What race group are they most likely going to come from? A group influenced by country music as a majority, who tells you to work for your money, a group that talks about living your best life and enjoying life, not making money, but partying, enjoying life, the pop culture, which also the majority are white, the Latino culture that talks about drinking, working hard, being with your family, a family minded type of people, or people that say money over everything. Hip hop influences us far more than you can imagine, and it's not influencing us for the good. There are some exceptions for people who are keeping hip hop alive and telling stories. Nas is a very big one. And another man named Tom McDonald. If you don't know who he is, I strongly encourage you to listen to Tom McDonald. The man's lyrics are incredible. He's a lyricist, he's an incredible rapper. He's completely independent. He's not signed by any music industry or any music label. He refuses. They've been trying to come for him and ask him to sign, but he refuses because all they want to do is censor him to keep him saying what they want him to say, and he refuses to do it. So he's making millions and millions of dollars. He's worth he's worth probably like over 20 million right now. All independent. He makes his own beats. He gets them mastered by one of his buddies, and his girlfriend is the one that shoots all of his videos. She directs and shoots his videos with her own camera. They own all the equipment. Everything's independent. They got Billboard like top number ones. He's like just about every one of his songs that he releases goes to the Billboard number one, number two. It hits, and all of his videos go viral. So look up Tom McDonald on YouTube. You'll find him. He's on I think he's on Spotify as well. He's on lots of platforms, but the dude, he says some incredible things and he doesn't bite his tongue. He says what he thinks, and he's done it independent. And that's one of the reasons why the music industry wants to silence him, because the music industry wants us to believe, especially the hip hop industry, they want us to believe that if you want to make it, the only way you can make it is by signing the dotted line with the music industry or music label. You can't do it by yourself. You need us because we're the gatekeepers. Well, Tom McDonald goes, screw that. I'm going to show you I can do it without you. And he does it. The only reason he hasn't won a Grammy is because the Grammy they only open up like sales and numbers and stuff like that from music labels. They won't do independent artists. So that's why he won't. It's like a whole thing. That's why Tom Cruise for the Academy Award, Tom Cruise, that movie grossed billions of dollars. Maverick made more money than any other movie besides maybe Avatar, The Way of Water. But you didn't see Tom Cruise even get a nomination for that film and how much went into it. But it blew everyone else out of the water. Something to think about. Those award shows, they're just propaganda. So yeah, you might be a fan of hip hop. You might enjoy, listening to hip hop and everything like that. But the actual murderer of the black race is hip hop music. It is the lead cause, the lead root, if you will, The lead root cause of why blacks are killing blacks at a higher rate than whites killing whites, Latinos killing Latinos, Asians killing Asians. It is the leading root cause as to why there are more fatherless homes, fathers having nothing to do with their kids. It's a leading root cause as to why more black girls than any other race are going to Planned Parenthood to get abortions. It is a leading root cause as to why blacks are least likely to get married than any other race and do not see women as honorable women for the most part. They see them as the B word, and why black women have been overlooked by other black men more so than any other race overlooks their own women. This is all related. And if we don't wake up, we're going to keep falling deeper and deeper and deeper into this hole until you can't get out anymore. You got to be careful about digging holes because sometimes you dig a hole and you're like, I can jump out. I'm still good. Keep digging. Like, I can still good. I can do this and do this. But then a cave in happens and now you can't. Something you weren't planning on happens and now you're stuck. Pay attention to what you listen to. Listen to how they talk about women. Listen to how they talk about the priorities of that genre. Because you may not think that way now, but you are likely to start thinking that way. Why take the risk? Like let's say you're a guy, you happen to be alone with a very, very beautiful secretary. You're in the office, it's just you and her. It's not a guarantee, especially if she's feeling you. It's not a guarantee that you're going to have sex with her. It's not a guarantee, but there's a high likelihood that you guys are going to do something if there's an opportunity for you guys to get away with it or to do it when no one can see. There's a high likelihood. So why put yourself in that predicament? Why risk it? Because when you try to see how strong you are, you will find out how weak you actually are. I mean, am I missing something? Like, because all the research that I did, earlier on suggested that hip hop is the one thing that blacks have that influences us that other races don't have for the most part. Like the majority race that listens to hip hop is black. R&B, same thing, but listen to the culture shift. Listen to how that music is today as opposed to what it was like back then, back when it was first founded. Look at the songs that lead in the charts. WAP and J Lo and her autotune and all other songs out there that are just talking about booties and sexualizing the heck out of you. And then you hear these same people talking about, oh, we're fighting for women's rights. Women have the right to, it's your body, your choice. You want to empower yourself. They keep using these words to soften the blow, like for like castrating children. They call it gender affirming care rather than castrating children. That's what they're actually calling it. They put these nice little pretty bows on something horrible. Like they call it canceling a pregnancy as opposed to murdering a child. You're like, "Oh, well, we want to cancel the pregnancy because it's not alive." But the same scientists say, "Oh, well, bacteria on Mars is life. There's a sign of life on Mars." Like, well, the life is not independent. The life is completely dependent. So it's a parasite. A fetus is a parasite. Like, really? So a teenager is a parasite. Why can't you execute a teenager? If you have a teenager, all they do is mooch. They don't pay anything. They don't contribute anything. They just sit there and take all your food and mooch and mooch and mooch and depend completely on you. Same thing with an 8-year-old, 7-year-old, 5-year-old, 4-year-old, 2-year-old, and 1-year-old. All the ages after the baby's born, they're a parasite by that same logic. So why can't we execute them? Why would it be a 187 in that situation, but it's not when you're executing a fetus? Like, oh, they can't feel it. How do you know? They can't talk. How do you know the last moments that that fetus feels are not the grueling torture of being ripped up shreds? Maybe they don't have a mouth. But I'm telling you, the stuff that hip hop culture is doing, it's affecting us in a way it doesn't affect anyone else. And actually, the people that are listening to this, I would say 90% of fans that listen to hip hop are influenced by it negatively more than they realize. So the 32 or excuse me, the 49% of white fans that listen to it are very likely to be among the people that will never have anything to do with their kids. They're very likely to not get married because they are adopting the same type of mentality that hip hop fans tend to adopt. Look at what marriage used to be back in the 70s and 50s is like till death forever. You're married. When it gets hard, you still married. You figure it out. You lose your house, you're still married. You figure it out. Now, if you get in an argument, people are leaving. Or you just got married yesterday, y'all had a great time, big, you know, big party, everyone's enjoying the gifts and everything. You haven't even finished unwrapping or sending thank you cards out to all the people that came to your wedding. You had one argument, you're like, "I'm done. I can't do this. Nah, I want a divorce." That's the mentality right now, people. They don't know how to endure. I just really encourage you, wake up. If you're a fan of hip hop, I really encourage you to boycott it. It's like drinking poison. Like, just because that poison might taste good doesn't mean it's not still poison. Like, "Ooh, this poison delicious." Yeah, but it's killing your liver, and it's killing your kidneys, and it's killing you. It's gonna stop your heart. But it's so good, though. Just because something sounds good or feels good doesn't mean it is good. Just because 2 people love each other doesn't mean that they're right for each other. If anybody else has any other points they'd like to share, I really like to hear from you. And as I bring this episode to a close, because it's really important. I think this is a massive subject, um, and I also think that another thing that we need to be aware of is the monolithical views of being black. What I mean by that are just because of the color of your skin doesn't mean you have to think a certain way, politically, religiously, or otherwise. Like, just because I'm black doesn't mean I have to be a Baptist. Just because I'm black doesn't mean I have to listen to hip hop. Just because I'm black doesn't mean I have to vote Democrat. Those are stereotypical views based in racism, that because you're this color, you have to do this. Man, people fought for my freedom. I'm a free person. I think the way I want to. Dr. King talked about freedom, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to live his dream. Since he's not here to see it, I'm going to live his dream. No one tells me how I have to think. I do my own research. I come to my own conclusions. I listen to everyone else's opinions, and I take it for what it is. I filter it. I take out the gold, and I throw away the rest. That's how I am. That's how I think the way I am. I don't think like a black man. I'm a black man, and I just happen to think. Matter of fact, black is just a characteristic of my identity. It is not my identity. I'm an American. I hate being called African American. When people say, "Oh, you're African American," I'm like, "No, I'm not. I ain't never been to Africa. I'm not born in Africa. I don't have African citizenship. If I get arrested in any place in Africa, they're not going to call me African American. They're going to call me American." Most people that call themselves African American have no idea where they came from in Africa, because they Africa is not one country. It's a continent. There's lots of different tribes, lots of different countries. There's hundreds of different dialects of and variations of the African tongue. So this African American stuff, that's nonsense. It doesn't exist unless you are from Africa or have African citizenship and you live in America and you're an American as well. Then you're African American, yeah. But we're American. Be proud of being American. You say, "Oh, this country's racist." Well, if it's racist, go anywhere else in the world and see if you're treated better. You'll be running back to America and say, "Man, this country's free." You're going to see the Statue of Liberty and go, "Oh my gosh, I'm home." Spend a week in Africa. See how they treat you. Now, I'm not talking about the tourist places. I'm talking about the places where everybody else goes, everybody else live. Live in the actual country and see how you're treated. See the struggles they got to go through. You're going to love being an American. You'll stand for the national anthem and everything. I just thought that was a really important thing, an important topic to discuss. Just it's really sad. It's really sad that we are literally destroying ourselves by supporting these hip hop stars just because the beat sounds nice. As always, I really want to thank every one of you guys for coming in tonight and for spending time with me. I know you can be anywhere you want, doing anything you want to do, but you chose to spend time with me. And I just wanted to thank you for inviting me into your homes, into your lives, into your cars, into your jobs, into your ears, and into your hearts. Until next time, I really encourage every one of you go out there and check out my other podcast episodes. You can check them out on Wisdom. You can also check them out on Amazon Podcast or Amazon Music. You can check them out on Google Podcasts, Spotify, especially Spotify. Spotify is my main platform. Got lots of other episodes out there. Right now, I'm in 21 countries. Just found I'm in Singapore. My podcast has reached them as well. So it's pretty humbling to continue to keep growing like this. And I really hope that you guys share these messages with other people, especially people who are willing to listen, because um, anyone who's willing to listen, maybe this message might help and change their lives. Because that's what I want to do. That's all I want to do. I'm not a black supremacist. I'm not a white supremacist or any other type of supremacist. I just want my people to live the best way they can. And in order for that to happen, we have to remove the toxins from among us because we are so much more than just dark skin. We're so much more than the stereotypes that people label or just like throw on us that we actually tend to throw on ourselves. So I really encourage everyone, please wake up. Please spread this message. Pay attention to these statistics. And in case you missed it, this episode will be recorded and available on the different platforms, especially on Wisdom. So enjoy it. And until next time, have a great evening. This is Real Talk with RJ, signing out.